So let's go ahead and wrap this up with a little talk about pseudo selectors. We're going to add a few different styles here, and then we're going to throw some pseudo selectors in there. Pseudo selectors can add additional styling to our navigation so that when we go scroll over it and hover over it, we see additional styling applied. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here. So in our navigation, we could say .navigation ULLI to select all of the list items inside our navigation. So if you look at our index.html here, we have all of these links inside our navigation, right? When we scroll over them, we want them to pop out at us. See how right now we can't even tell? They're like barely there. Look, if I look at my page, if I refresh this guy, you can tell that they're there, but barely, right? They follow us around the screen, but you can't really tell that they're there. So we're going to do 3 different changes here. In your style.css file, open it up and create a new rule for a class of navigation with an unordered list and then an anchor tag followed by a list item. That's a lot of stuff. That's probably the most nested, dense rule we've seen so far. Inside this guy, I want you to give it, number 1, I want you to say, at the end of the LI, give it a : hover. And this is the first example you've seen of what's known as a pseudo selector. Okay? Now what this means is that as you hover over the link, we're going to give it a background color of that poppin' pink that we were using before. So scroll up to find the hashtag FF4081 and throw that in there for the background color. Don't worry, I'll paste this all in the Slack if you're missing any of it right now. But once you save this and refresh the page, you should see the hover effect take place. When you scroll over, see how it turns pink in the background? That's the beginning of what we're looking for right now. This is the very beginning of it. So what's cool about this is that we can style it however we want, and it'll apply those styles when the user interacts with that section of it. Okay? So this hover effect is the first example you've seen of what's known as a pseudo selector. Pseudo selectors. See that right there? If I scroll over, the background turns pink. And now I know which one I'm hovering over. It looks exactly like this. Now to finish this off, we're going to start by right in between those two, creating one more style for .navigation, UL, anchor tags only. We're going to give them a text decoration of none, like this. Okay? And a color of black. So now they're still links. They still appear as links, but the text looks normal. See that? See what I did there? We're then going to set the entire navigation div to have a background color of hashtag EEE, like this. Okay. Getting closer to what we want. Now it looks like a real navigation. If I check this out right here, now I have a little navigation that doesn't look very good. See that? You ready to make it nice? Here's what we do. We want to give the UL a margin of 0 so that all of these things are in line perfectly with each other. See that? I'm actually going to change the left to 40 too, so that they line up just like this. That looks kind of nicer. See that? So I'm going to go back over everything I just did really quick. I just did a ton of stuff real quick. Ready? Starting with the beginning. In the dot navigation, I changed the left to -40 so that they line up directly with the left side of the wall. Then, in my navigation UL, my unordered list inside the navigation div, this guy inside my div with the class of navigation, I gave it a margin of 0 so that the top and bottom, there's no extra space. Watch. See how there's an extra space up there and it just looks nasty? Doesn't look right. Right? I don't like that at all. This extra space there just doesn't make the hover effect look very nice. So we're going to say margin of 0. And that makes it look much, much nicer. but they're still all really squished against each other. So the next thing I'm going to do is go down to this navigation UL anchor tag, give them a text decoration of none, which means there's no underline. See that underline? I don't want that underline there. I got rid of it by saying text decoration none. And then I made all these links have a color of black. You see that? Then I said all of the list items, when you hover over them, set their background color to pink. Now, one of the last things I'm going to do is give all my list items a padding top of 5 pixels. Oh, wait, not when they hover. I want to give it just a padding top in general. Sorry. So make one more rule, dot navigation, UL, A, list item. I know, it's a ton of stuff. Give it a padding top of left. I mean, a padding top of 5 pixels. And then give it a padding left of 5 pixels. Check it out, though. That looks a little bit nicer. Okay? And then finally, I'm going to give them a border bottom of solid 1 pixel black. And that is it. There we go. Now we have a fly little looking navigation. You know what? I'm gonna change this color to white when I hover over to. Let's see how that looks. Okay, I like that better too. Nice. See what I just did? So I'm gonna go over all of it again really quickly. Starting from the top, I added in 5 new rules. A navigation rule, a navigation unordered list rule, a navigation unordered list anchor tag rule, a navigation unordered list anchor tag list item rule, and a navigation unordered list anchor tag list item hover rule. Oh my god, that is so many things. Too much, right? Way too much. But look at the cool little navigation I have now. Now it pops up in front of whatever I have. When you hover over it, the text turns white and the background color turns pink, which is really cool. It's got a nice little border bottom that shows the clear separation of each one. It's fixed and displayed in front of everything else. And it just looks kind of nice. So I'm going to wrap up this video here. And we're going to finish up the very last touch to this website in our last video. I'll paste all this code into Slack so you have it. Do not worry, it was a ton of stuff.